Why did the Pope reference Trump? Could it have been a prophetic vision, a divine revelation, or perhaps a caution regarding the future? These inquiries stand at the center of today's discourse, where we delve into the cryptic phrases expressed by Pope John Paul II. In his waning days, as silence enveloped the world, certain revelations possessed the ability to rattle our deepest convictions. Among these revelations was a notable mention that transpired during the final moments of the Pope's life. To commence, I warmly invite you to subscribe to this channel, where I will be sharing daily prophetic messages aimed directly at your heart. I encourage you not to forget to leave your prayer requests in the comment section below. Share with me the individuals for whom you have been praying lately, be they family members, friends, job opportunities, or health-related matters. Please enter your petitions in the comments so I may join you in prayer. Additionally, do let me know from which country you hail. I am eager to understand the reach our message has across the globe. Amen. Let us envision the Vatican, a realm steeped in history, draped in an air of solemnity and profound spirituality. Pope John Paul II, a symbol of unwavering faith and resilience, spent his final days enveloped in prayer and contemplation. Despite his frailty, he remained steadfast in his commitment to guide humanity. It was during these last moments of reflection that an unexpected name arose: Donald Trump. At that time, Trump was merely recognized as a businessman and public figure, far removed from his eventual political persona. Yet, something about him captured the Pope's attention, sparking a fervent dialogue among supporters and detractors alike. The final reflections of Pope John Paul II revolved around the Gospel, particularly the narrative of the resurrected Christ and his interaction with Thomas the Apostle. The Pope utilized this story to highlight the essence of divine mercy, a mercy that transcends all human understanding. For Pope John Paul II, the figure of Thomas, who required tangible proof of Christ's wounds to believe, personified the patience and unconditional love that God extends to humanity. He underscored the idea that God continually offers us opportunities for belief and the quest for redemption. In the midst of our doubts and failings, the mere mention of Trump added an element of intrigue and complexity to these profound spiritual messages. Some interpreted the Pope's reference as a glimpse into Trump's identifiable traits that could influence future events, while others speculated that the Pope had a foresight of the forthcoming political climate. These notions ignited a flurry of interpretations and debates, weaving a tapestry of intrigue around his concluding teachings. To fully grasp the elusive words of Pope John Paul II, one must situate them within a landscape of ceaseless change, where faith and politics often intertwine in unanticipated ways. The emphasis the Pope placed on divine mercy and his contemplations regarding contemporary figures like Trump reflect a deep understanding of the intricate dynamics of human nature and divine involvement throughout history. Exploring the implications of these utterances encourages us to consider the spiritual legacy that the Pope bequeathed to the world. This analysis not only has the potential to reveal his underlying intentions, but may also offer fresh perspectives on our individual faith and how we interpret the world around us. As we progress, a multitude of questions emerge. What were the circumstances surrounding the last days of the Pope? Why did he mention Trump, a figure seemingly detached from his spiritual concerns? More crucially, what do these revelations signify for us in a world often characterized by uncertainty and division? To delve deeper into these queries, we must rewind to the days leading up to April 2, 2005. Confronting an overwhelming physical torment, Pope John Paul II devoted his final moments to earnest prayer and deep meditation. His focus remained unwavering. He did not pray for personal reprieve, but for the entirety of humanity. In his last moments, surrounded by aides and confidants, his devotion to God was remarkably evident. He meticulously prepared messages filled with spiritual guidance and reflections regarding the human condition, which remained confidential until after his passing, thereby unveiling a leader profoundly invested in the future and the ethical dilemmas facing humanity. Pope John Paul II believed suffering was a pathway to a deeper union with Christ. He often referenced the Virgin Mary as a source of strength and guidance, urging individuals to prepare through fervent prayers for protection and salvific grace. Hence, I encourage you to download my digital book, The Powerful Prayer of the Virgin Mary. This resource encompasses a multitude of prayers useful for various life situations. Do not waste time. Click the link provided in the first pinned comment and gain immediate access. Units are limited, so acting now is essential to ensure your access to the powerful prayer of the Virgin Mary before the copies run out. In his final prayers, the Pope sought not personal solace but strength and direction for his followers, fervently interceding on behalf of the Church while urging steadfastness in faith. He expressed deep concern over the threats posed by secularism and moral relativism, which he regarded as dangers to society. In his last messages, he stressed the theme of divine mercy, gleaned from the revelations of Saint Faustina Kowalska, and issued a clarion call to trust in God's infinite mercy. He also advocated against the perils of materialism and the gradual erosion of spiritual values, imploring everyone to return to prayer, assume leadership roles in their lives, and practice kindness and justice. In one of his most poignant reflections, he foresaw a time of intense spiritual struggle wherein the faithful would need to resist the forces of evil. His words served as both a warning and a message of hope, encouraging perseverance in faith. The centrality of mercy in his concluding remarks encapsulated his belief that, in an increasingly fractured world, divine mercy was pivotal to attaining genuine peace. As his health waned, the Pope repeatedly uttered with fervor, "Jesus, I trust in you. Have mercy on us and on the whole world." This simple phrase distilled his conviction in the redeeming power of divine mercy and manifested a heartfelt supplication for humanity. As his physical condition deteriorated, his thoughts increasingly ventured toward the future, contemplating a world confronted by unprecedented moral and spiritual challenges. While he warned of the temptations characteristic of modernity, his final message resonated with optimism. He believed that through faith, prayer, and obedience to God, humanity could triumph over all trials. Drawing on the Gospel of John, which describes the resurrected Christ revealing his wounds to the apostles, this episode symbolizes the very essence of divine love and mercy, a message that Jesus sought to impart to the world. It unfolds 8 days after the resurrection when Jesus appears to the assembled disciples, offering them both reassurance and a call to faith. In a contemporary exploration of faith, uncertainty persists within the hearts of many. Among those grappling with such doubts was Thomas, often referred to as the doubter, who was notably absent during the initial appearances of Jesus after his resurrection. Thomas articulated his skepticism boldly, asserting that he could only believe if he was granted the opportunity to physically perceive and touch the wounds of Christ. When Jesus later returned, extending an invitation for Thomas to inspect his scars, the skepticism of Thomas metamorphosed into a profound and unwavering belief, culminating in his exclamation, "My Lord and my God." This transformative moment underscores a vital theological message. Authentic faith transcends mere physical evidence and is rooted in a steadfast trust in the unseen, echoing the principles articulated in the second epistle to the Corinthians, particularly in chapter 5, verse 7. For 3 transformative years, the disciples were privileged to accompany Jesus. Nevertheless, a pivotal moment arrived when they were called to have faith in his spiritual presence. The lack of faith exhibited by Thomas mirrors the attitudes of countless individuals today, reflecting a prevalent desire for tangible proof before embracing belief. However, once Thomas was invited to touch the wounds of Jesus, his need for concrete evidence dissipated. He recognized the divine nature of Christ, as Jesus pointedly remarked that those who believe without having seen are truly blessed, as conveyed in John 20, verse 29. This scripture clearly articulates that the epitome of faith transcends the longing for physical validation. Genuine faith entails a complete reliance on God, the unseen entity, and his holy word. Pope John Paul II perceived in this passage a fundamental principle essential for the modern church, emphasizing that true faith does not hinge on material proof, but on an unshakable confidence in the love and mercy of God. The transformation experienced by Thomas serves as a model of the type of faith that the Pope encouraged Christians to embrace, especially during challenging times of doubt and tribulation. The Pope's message was unequivocal. Belief in the resurrection of Christ imbues one with hope and redemption, even amidst the bleakest moments. Reflecting on this passage, he accentuated the necessity for a renewed and resolute faith, particularly in an increasingly skeptical world. In contemplating the doubts expressed by Thomas, Pope John Paul II discerned a reflection of the uncertainties that permeate contemporary society, highlighting the essential nature of personal encounters with Christ, even in his absence. This message, centered on mercy and faith, calls for acceptance of the redemptive message of the gospel and a deep trust in the continual presence of Christ within our lives. As his life neared its end, in a profound moment of reflection, Pope John Paul II referenced an unexpected figure, Donald Trump. In the context of his passing in 2005, Trump was primarily recognized as a business mogul and television personality, far removed from the political dynamics that would later define his legacy. Yet, the Pope's remarks hinted at Trump's future role as one of considerable influence. His enigmatic insights regarding Trump sparked substantial curiosity and ignited debates, raising questions about the motivations behind a spiritual leader so devoted to themes of faith and compassion, publicly acknowledging a controversial public figure. To decipher this intricate message, it is imperative to consider the layers of prophecy and spiritual discernment that the Pope employed throughout his life. Renowned for his depth of spirituality, Pope John Paul II spoke from a prophetic viewpoint, offering anticipatory insights about a future that few could envision at the time. Within the Catholic tradition, prophecies are perceived as reflections of divine designs, and the Pope's observations concerning Trump can be understood as an inspired glimpse into the unfolding events within political, cultural, and spiritual arenas across the globe. Following the passage of John Paul II, the subsequent presidency of Trump affirmed some of the changes that the Pope had previously anticipated. Trump's polarizing policies and rhetoric had a profound global impact, leaving an indelible mark on American political landscapes. Supporters and critics alike have scrutinized his achievements and controversies, and from a prophetic perspective, his presidency can be interpreted as a manifestation of the changes foreseen by the Pope. Moreover, Trump's relationships with religious communities formed a significant aspect of his administration, as he garnered support from those who interpreted his policies as a defense of spiritual values. This connection resonated with the Pope's reflections, wherein he consistently emphasized the importance of upholding spiritual principles amid challenging circumstances. His calls for mercy and love served as guiding forces, encouraging the faithful to maintain both faith and compassion, regardless of external events. Therefore, John Paul II's message regarding divine mercy provides a lens through which to assess the influence of Trump from a spiritual viewpoint, reminding society of the imperative for moral and ethical reflection in political discourse. The mention of Donald Trump in the reflections of Pope John Paul II raises fascinating dilemmas intertwined with the prophecies and spiritual discernment that defined his leadership. The Pope's ability to interpret the currents of his time and identify influential figures, even those who appeared distant, illustrates a fundamental intent of his spiritual mission. For him, the world was in a state of perpetual transformation, requiring the Church to adapt thoughtfully without compromising its core beliefs. It is conceivable that when he alluded to Trump, the Pope was recognizing a person who would not only play a pivotal role in American politics, but also wield substantial influence over global equilibrium and national spirituality. From a Christian perspective, politics should not exist as an isolated realm, but rather be deeply interconnected with gospel principles. The Pope never turned a blind eye to political realities. Instead, he consistently highlighted the necessity for faith to navigate the tumultuousness of worldly affairs. According to him, politics ought to serve humanity, rather than the reverse. In a sense, Trump's controversial persona and his audacious challenges to the status quo could have been seen by the Pope as a catalyst for profound changes, both positive and negative, within society. Furthermore, within the broader context of John Paul II's prophetic visions, mentioning Trump transcended mere political dialogue. It addressed the more extensive influence such a figure could exert on culture and moral consciousness. During his papacy, Pope John Paul II witnessed the cultural transformations occurring around him. Shifts in values, the rise of secularism, increasing societal polarization, and the overarching tides of globalization. In this milieu, the emergence of figures like Trump could be construed as a sign of the times, underscoring humanity's urgent need for spiritual renewal. Ultimately, political movements and influential figures serve as reflections of the spiritual state of nations, and the Pope understood that material power must never detach humanity from its divine creator. Thus, Pope John Paul II's reflections on Trump incorporated a significant understanding of the spiritual landscape of contemporary society, with keen insight into how leadership can resonate beyond politics to shape the collective moral framework. Within his teachings, he consistently epitomized hope and renewal, providing a roadmap for navigating an increasingly complex global environment. His legacy remains a pertinent reminder that in seeking to understand the intertwining paths of faith, politics, and morality, the experience of faith itself serves as a guiding light for humanity. The figure of Donald Trump emerges within the framework of analyzing the teachings of Pope John Paul II as a complex identity, one where both tensions and transformative opportunities coexist. The pontiff's contemplations regarding contemporary politics, ethics, and culture, particularly amid an atmosphere characterized by uncertainty, served as a poignant reminder to the Church to resist being swept away by the currents of societal change. Instead, he urged for an unwavering commitment to the teachings of Christ. Beyond his prophetic vision, John Paul II also grapples with the intricate nature of human suffering. Throughout his papacy, he confronted a multitude of formidable challenges, spanning events such as the fall of the Berlin Wall, conflicts in the Balkans, and rising tensions in Latin America and Africa. He was perpetually a champion of peace, a messenger of reconciliation, and an ardent believer in the redemptive power of human suffering. His approach to suffering transcended mere resignation. It was underpinned by a profound understanding that suffering, when viewed through the lens of Christ's crucifixion, could be transformed into a beacon of hope. This perspective was generously applied to the political and social hardships he observed. For him, the tribulations faced by nations were not indicators of despair, but rather opportunities for redemption and a resurgence of faith. In this light, the tensions surrounding populist figures such as Trump can also be interpreted through the prism of suffering and the potential for redemption. The divisions brought forth by Trump's policies and his distinctive leadership style may be seen as a societal litmus test, a challenge that, if navigated wisely, could lead to a spiritual renaissance. As Pope John Paul II approached the twilight of his life, his final utterances left an indelible mark on the hearts of countless individuals, imbued with a sense of mystery and profound reflection. Among these final thoughts was an unexpected mention that captured collective attention: Donald Trump. Few could have predicted that the revered Pope would invoke the name of a figure who would subsequently ascend to prominence on the global political stage. It is imperative to contemplate the significance of this mention, not merely as an isolated event, but as a pivotal point for discourse about the nature of leadership and faith in turbulent times. In this context, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel, where I will be sharing daily prophetic messages aimed at nourishing your spirit. Moreover, do not hesitate to comment with your prayer requests, and let me know for whom you seek intercession in our collective prayers. Even in his weakened state, Pope John Paul II's voice conveyed an enigmatic message that reverberated beyond the walls of the Vatican, awakening a sense of urgency that is palpable even today. Many Catholic faithful were moved to tears when they heard the Pope's last reflections, sensing a unique gravitas in his words. The lingering question persists: what exactly was Pope John Paul II trying to convey by mentioning Trump in his final moments? Was it a warning, a prophetic vision, or a compassionate call for the world to pay close attention amid tumultuous challenges? Numerous commentators interpreted his closing thoughts as more than mere reflections. They perceived them as a clarion call directed toward a world on the brink of pivotal transformation. The surprising invocation of Trump within such a sacred context cultivated an atmosphere rife with speculation. Years before Trump became a central figure in the political arena, the Pope had spoken his name, leaving a trail of inquiries in its wake. Today, as the United States grapples with political polarization, cultural strife, and challenges to moral and religious values, the words of John Paul II resonate with unsettling relevance. Could he have foreseen the very dilemmas that currently fracture societal cohesion? This question invites a deeper contemplation regarding the vital importance of unity, compassion, and spiritual values as essential tools for navigating times of uncertainty. To truly grasp the weight of this message, it is essential to revisit the days leading up to April 2, 2005. As the Pope's health deteriorated, he endured significant physical suffering, yet he devoted his final hours to prayer and contemplation, surrounded by trusted aides and companions in his Vatican residence. He spent those last days diligently recording his thoughts in journals, hoping to impart guidance to future generations. Despite his frailty, his unwavering commitment to both God and humanity remained resolute. In the aftermath of his passing, his writings were gradually unveiled, revealing the insights of a shepherd deeply attuned to an era marked by moral and spiritual crisis. His words navigated the dangers posed by secularism and materialism, imploring the faithful to strengthen their connection with prayer, seek divine wisdom, and practice compassion and justice. The mention of Trump now presents as a riddle, prompting us to ponder the urgent necessity for spiritual resilience and moral clarity in an unpredictable world. The Pope underscored the might of divine mercy, a devotion he embraced wholeheartedly, especially through his veneration for Saint Faustina Kowalska and her message of infinite mercy. In one of his final writings, he reflected on the story of the resurrected Jesus and the Apostle Thomas, offering a lesson on faith and mercy. John Paul II would see in this narrative a call to embrace faith even amid doubt. Today, as the United States encounters contentious debates regarding religious freedom, moral relativism, and the impact of political dominion, the papal reflections on Trump assume a profound significance. Trump has become emblematic of several of these issues, inciting polarized reactions across the spectrum. Our spiritual mother, the Virgin Mary, has cautioned us about the importance of preparing ourselves through fervent prayers for the protection and salvation of our lives. I encourage you to download my digital book, The Powerful Prayer of the Virgin Mary, which contains a diverse array of prayers tailored for life's myriad circumstances. Don't delay. Click the link in the pinned comment to download it immediately, as supplies are limited and taking action now is vital to ensure you seize this opportunity before it runs out. The allusion to Trump by Pope John Paul II implies that he perceived in the individual a reflection of worldly ambitions that may contest spiritual and moral integrity. His successors have continued to grapple with the challenge of harmonizing the Church's timeless values with an ever-evolving world. This final message from Pope John Paul II continues to resonate as both a warning and a call to introspection. His legacy of mercy, compassion, and faith serves as a beacon of hope, reminding us of the crucial role spirituality plays in times of change. Whether his words concerning Donald Trump constituted a particular warning or a broader contemplation on the essence of power and influence, they remind us that our faith must guide our actions during uncertain times, and that those actions should reflect the mercy and limitless love espoused by the gospel. Join us as we delve deep into the legacy of Pope John Paul II, exploring his final reflections and the profound inquiries they raise pertinent to our contemporary world. The Pope's admonitions held substantial weight, underscoring the enduring need for contemplation, unity, and faith amidst ongoing global upheaval. The journey of human existence is often fraught with challenges that test the very fabric of one's faith. Yet amidst this turmoil, there resides a glimmer of hope, rooted in the belief that through faith, earnest prayer, and adherence to divine commandments, humanity is more than capable of transcending its difficulties. In the twilight of his life, when Juan Pablo II found himself stripped of strength and rendered nearly speechless, he continued to engage in silent prayers. These prayers were not merely for personal solace, but were dedicated to the redemption of the world and the fortification of the faithful, empowering them to withstand the trials that lie ahead. His unwavering belief and profound commitment to the spiritual well-being of humanity were testament to his deep love and dedication. In his final moments, the memory of a particular passage from the Gospel resonated within him, striking a chord deep in his heart, a passage that would illuminate the path for many. This poignant narrative revolves around the appearance of the resurrected Christ before his apostles, a scene imbued with profound significance, wherein he revealed his wounds. This extraordinary event transpired just 8 days following his resurrection and features Thomas, a figure overshadowed by doubt until he was granted the privilege to witness the physical manifestations of Christ's suffering. When Jesus invited him to touch his wounds, the skeptic in Thomas yielded, transforming doubt into unwavering faith, prompting him to reverently declare, "My Lord and my God." This moment transcended mere interaction. It served as a universal beacon for believers across generations, urging them to traverse the pathway of faith rather than to depend solely on what their physical eyes could perceive. As articulated in 2 Corinthians 5 verse 7, believers are encouraged to walk by faith, not by sight. Thomas's journey is emblematic of the struggles many face when tasked with trusting in the unseen, relying on God's promises in the absence of tangible evidence. In a world beset by uncertainty, this message is ever pertinent, particularly in contemporary society where faith is subjected to frequent trials. Just as Thomas sought physical proof of Christ's resurrection, many individuals today seek visible signs to affirm their faith. In the socio-political landscape of the United States, political leaders often invoke religious symbolism to garner trust, appealing to values that resonate deeply within the Christian community. Recently, Pope Francis voiced his apprehensions regarding certain political figures, including former President Donald Trump. He cautioned believers to remain vigilant against those who exploit religion as a tool for attaining power, emphasizing the need for humility and compassion, traits that are central to the Christian ethos. This warning serves as a reminder of the delicate balance between faith and the manipulative use of religious sentiment in the arena of politics. As we navigate through these challenging times, it is essential to remember that faith is not merely an abstract ideal. It is a living testament that drives individuals toward justice, compassion, and genuine humility. It compels us to make decisions rooted in love, reminding us to support one another through our shared struggles. Just as Christ uplifted those around him, so too must we strive to elevate our communities, embracing the ideals of empathy and kindness in our daily interactions. In these turbulent times, the message of faith and steadfastness bears an even greater weight. It calls upon each of us to reflect on our own convictions and to seek a deeper understanding of what it means to be truly faithful. The essence of faith lies not merely in the affirmation of beliefs, but in the actions inspired by those beliefs. A call to live out the principles of love and compassion in every facet of our lives. Ultimately, the stories of figures like Juan Pablo II and Thomas compel us to acknowledge our doubts, while also encouraging us to embrace the transformative power of faith. They invite us to look beyond the surface, challenging us to trust in something greater than ourselves. In doing so, we can find the strength to confront our uncertainties and strive for a world characterized by peace, understanding, and unwavering hope. The imperatives of faith remain clear: to act in love, to uplift one another, and to walk boldly forward with the conviction that we are not alone. Through our collective faith and actions, we can contribute to the enduring spirit of humanity, forging pathways toward a brighter and more compassionate future.